about the arrangement with St. Kitts and Nevis. I see he touched on that, right?
Yes.
He also touched about the health insurance. That one honestly needed like today, because about 2010, all way back in Marcelo time, they keep talking about the health insurance. You pass through that administration, passed through 7 years for the one gone, and now this one talking about it again. I hope they're really serious, because it was heartbroken for me that the little girl passed away last week, when for years she family was trying to raise funds.
Brianna?
Brianna? Yeah, to get funding, and after so many years and they get the funding, it was too late.
Boy.
I noticed that another child just gone out from Nevis again. So honestly, we need that like right now, that we could assist the citizens, because like we say, a lot of money does be thrown around during campaign. Why that don't go toward health care? Yeah, thanks for your time, buddy.
Yeah, don't go yet. Just want to advise you that Queen Elizabeth II, she herself came here in February 1966.
Okay, thanks.
And again in October 1985. That is when, like I said, I was on parade in Warner Park when she inspected the troops.
Okay,
but of course, since that time, many of her heirs and successors have visited St. Kitts.
Okay, bro.
Very well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Livy. And I'm very disappointed to hear that Brianna died. I am just hearing it for the first time today, too. I remember I made sure I took my contribution to Harper's on her behalf. I hope it helped in whatever small way. Let's take another caller. Hello.
Hey, Mr. Blake.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I'm calling you from New York.
Yes, Sonny.
This is Sonny Boy.
Definitely.
What happened to the election?
What happened to what?
The last election.
What happened? Sonny.
Yeah.
You're breaking up. Start again, please.
All right.
Start again.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, hello?
Yeah, good morning, man. How are you, man?
Oh, this is Bert. What happened to Sonny? I was telling Sonny Boy that he's breaking up. He should try again. Anyway, carry on, Bert.
Yeah, I don't know if I could hear that well, man. Maybe I'll try calling right back.
Well, good. I'm hearing you, okay? But if you're not hearing me, you should try again. I don't know what the problem is. ZIZ should be improving and getting better. Okay, let's take another caller if there's one. Okay. Yes. It definitely cannot be acceptable that any of our citizens, old or young, dies as a result of late intervention for medical treatment. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Blake.
Good morning,
we need to get some funding for when people sick that they could get when they can't get none. And looking at the Dr. Joan and them, right? I hope that they will be a good leader, because when you follow, everybody know what's going on. So that's why the people them vote against the other party them, to try Dr. Joe to see what successful he can do. And we pray that for the family them who lost their loved one without health care, that they get the health care. We need health care in St. Kitts. Thank you.
That's really, thank you. I like that. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, man. How you guys doing, man?
Okay, good. Right. Welcome back.
Okay, my two orders of business, two first things of business I want to see in terms of planning and the project.
So, excuse me.
I know.
That's the overseas line. Apparently, the overseas line is giving some issues here. We're not hearing you clearly, but like Sonny Boy, you're breaking up.
Oh, okay. I'll try back, man. Thanks.
Yeah, try again before we end in the next half an hour. Yeah, that's a shame. So maybe we should work on that and see what happens. Okay. Let's take another caller. Hello?
Good day, Mr. Blake.
Hey, good morning, Big Shot. What's up?
Yeah, Big Shot? That I'm not sure of. But yeah, well, you know, the elections are gone and voters I think, have made their feelings known. They've given the government a golden opportunity to reset.
Voters have heeded your advice. Change what we had, and let's see if the new change will meet our expectations. If not, we change that too.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And we should give them some time and space.
Of course.
Also.
Absolutely.
But whatever result, I think we wanted to change the type of governance we have forever. And so, just like before, I remember in 2015, it was 6 months after that I asked the Prime Minister, what about the good governance agenda? And his reply that nobody's going to crack no whip on him. After he gave that reply, I knew that we were in for trouble. Okay? And so here we are again. I think give the government 6 months again, see what they do with that, because I'm sure that they can't expect to govern for 5 years, and these good governance things are not in place. I'd be very surprised, given the pledges that the Prime Minister and his colleagues have made, that the good governance agenda I'd be very surprised if it's not given priority. Okay? So that, I think, is absolutely a must. The government has to be kept accountable, and things have to be done correctly and fairly. And it should be government in the open, right?
Right.
Having said that, this government, I think, is going to have to walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay? You mentioned priorities. Well, there are so many things, huh? Apart from the governance aspect of it, which of course is overarching, that regardless of what they do, those principles should be enshrined in the implementation, the execution of what they do, right? But apart from that, I would think that the relations between St. Kitts and Nevis need urgent attention, all right? Because that was one of the reasons why I think we're where we are right now. We need to settle those things once and for all. It's good that the Nevisians gave CCM a clear mandate, and that the Labour Party has a clear mandate in St. Kitts. They should negotiate and these things like the CBI, revenue sharing and those things, and make sure they don't keep popping up, right? We want closure to issues like that, and maybe you can't get it without constitutional reform, and so that is one of the things that have to be done at the outset. Get those things going. And yes, of course, there's that healthcare thing. In my opinion, we do have some elements of universal healthcare. It's the catastrophic part that is difficult. And remember, quite a number of civil servants and people in the private sector have insurance already. So it's usually the poorer, the less fortunate who are left without.
Uncovered, yes.
Yeah, and so I think they should set up a fund like yesterday, immediately, just to deal with those people. You don't have to. We're not starting from scratch, and so that can be done virtually immediately. I think those two, the governance and the healthcare issues. I heard the interview, and it sounds as if the Prime Minister is going to take on the health ministry. That's interesting, you know. And I think it speaks to the fact that we've been kicking that can down the road for a long while as well, having so much complaints with our health sector, and saying that we've had medical doctors who've been prime ministers, and yet we have that. And so he's obviously taking the bull by the horns, it seems like, and that is going to be, that's a good, that's bodes well, I think, for the future.
Okay. Listen, I wanted to call back and give me an opinion on the poor showing of independent candidates over the years. Not right now, because you've been on for a while. So call back and
candidates?
Give me, not now. I'm going to get somebody else on now. Call me back and give me an opinion on that.
Cool.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Let's take this other caller here. Good morning, caller. Hello? Hello? Yeah, what's happening here?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
You got me now?
I have you now.
This is the Major.
Very well, Major.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I remember being on parade in 1985 when you were my
Commander.
you were my commander.
Yeah. No, I just, I'm a man like to share a lot of things. I do a lot of reading, And so, educationally, I would have to say you're par excellence.
Thank you.
However, what I want to say, let me start with you. Hear what I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel good about yourself, you can allow others to get close to you.
Definitely.
You become more attractive, and people feel safer being close to you. And many people fear safer being close to you. Many people fear being allowed up to in a relationship with someone who is emotionally bottomless pit. And there's great irony in love. And the less we need it, the more lucky and likely we are to get it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I like that point. One needs to exude an aura of self-confidence, and that attracts others. Well, it repels some, but it attracts more than it repels. Let's take another caller. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Blake.
Yes, Sonny Boy.
Calling you from New York. Let me ask you something. Is the election contested?
No. You mean any court action taken?
Yeah.
Not as far as I know. I was hearing something, some shushu, but nothing official has been announced.
But I hear CARICOM didn't put in their report because they was monitoring the election.
Of course.
And the Organization for the United States, the OSA, hasn't put in their interpretation of what went down.
But they normally submit a report.
A lot of rumor that a lot of shenanigans went on. And the OS and CARICOM, they ain't put the report in yet.
No, I'm not sure about if the word shenanigan is correct, but they did point out some weaknesses.
Okay, but let me express myself personally.
Sure.
I was born in St. Kitts, but I've never voted in an election. I've always lived, ever since I was 18 years old, I lived in the Virgin Islands and the United States. One thing I see about St. Kitts election is when they say officially the poll closed at a certain time, it don't be closed. In America, when the poll closed, it closed. If you miss the poll, there's no exception to the rule. But I saw on snippets of real, some people were voting way after 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's when the poll should have been closed. So my take on this is, if you're going to have a fair and square election, you got to follow the rules. The rules is supposed to go for everybody. And I'm going to tell you something personally. Labor track record is awful. And what Dr. Timothy Harris did to bring St. Kitts back in prominence. Do you know St. Kitts ranked number 5 in the Caribbean in education? That's what Timothy Harris did. Number 5 in the whole Eastern country, St. Kitts is 5. And we only have a population of about 60,000. That man paid off the national debt that Douglas put St. Kitts into.
You have 60 seconds more.
Trillions and trillions of dollars. Harris paid it back to the IMF. So, trust me, I hope I'm wrong, but things is not going to be good in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay.
Because you put a party back in, they sold for 20 years. And it didn't do nothing. And now you put them back in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Sonny. But I must remind him that 14,000 persons, over 14,000 persons disagree strongly with that view. Okay? And if we look at the figures, I might venture to argue that a little over 9,000 might agree with him. A little over 9,000 in St. Kitts might have agreed with him last Friday, but over 14,000 disagree with that view. But of course, he's free to express it, provided he does it as decently as he did. Let's take another caller. All right. So, by the way, I think it's only fair that we give the new government, as we like to say, the opportunity to find its way, to find its feet, to settle in, to settle down, and as it charts a path, we begin to understand the direction in which it seeks to head. We begin to look at what we can expect based on the distribution of portfolios, based on the construct of the cabinet and all of that. But certainly, I do not believe that the party just having one, we can get up and decide that this is going to happen or that is going to happen, especially because it's a fairly brand new cabinet. Okay, it's a fairly brand new government, a fairly brand new set of individuals. And we cannot expect that, or we cannot decide that it's going to be all failure because of what might have happened before. I certainly don't share that view. I think that the new government is going to do well. Let's take this caller, what he or she has to say. Good morning, caller.
Mr. Blake, good morning, sir.
Yes.
I want to find out for me if cat eat politics and Mr. Culture Tongue. Find out for me, please.
No, well, I won't be finding that out because that's not important. People have a right, people have the privilege to call in and not to call in. I mean, because an individual doesn't call in on a particular show or doesn't call in for a week or a month or a year, doesn't mean anything is wrong. That's the individual's choice. So let us respect that. One has a choice to call in or not to call in, just as you have a choice to vote or not to vote, a choice to support or not to support. Okay? Let's all remember and respect that. Thank you very much. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Blake, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Boyne.
Yeah, I totally agree with you just when you said, we need to give the new government a chance to settle down. You understand? And I want also to extend my congratulations to Dr. Drew and his team. Mr. Blake, I never went to high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I listened in March of this year, I predicted this election, I predicted it, and all of my friends, them.
You mean the results?
Huh?
You predicted the elections or the results?
The results.
Okay.
Well, as a matter of fact, I can say the elections because I started out by saying, after the convention, I told some of my friends, I said, I believe Palm is going down the wrong road. Palm and CCM, listening to the speeches from the convention. The following day when I went to work, I said, I believe Palm is going down the wrong way, and this could lead to the breaking up of Team Unity.
Mm-hmm.
I said it, Mr. Blake, in March of this year. This is the blind man from Challengers talking.
You're telling the world that, not me.
You understand? And I keep making predictions. And I wasn't surprised Friday night. I wasn't surprised. Right? I wasn't surprised. So, once again, let us give Dr. Drew and his team a chance. And, let us see what they're going to do for the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The voters, they have spoken. You understand? And it is time now for us to settle down. And I would end by saying, I believe Palm caused the defeat on themselves. Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Thank you. And I'm sure that Dr. Joe is going to pay some attention to persons with disabilities. I am absolutely certain of that. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Yes, hello, man.
Yes.
Okay, I'm back in, right?
Yes, Sonny. Sorry, that's Bert.
Okay, I just really quickly wanted to support this caller.
But you're not coming through. You're not coming through clearly at all. I'm understanding less than 1% of your utterances. So
okay, I'll try back my thanks.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening this time because you normally come through clearly and audibly, but this time there's an issue. Let's take this other caller. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Blake. Can you hear me?
Loudly and clearly.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. How is your family doing today?
The family is as fine as can ever be.
Be careful. It's windy outside. Hope they don't get blown away. Mr. Blake, I want to use 3 words and describe it with definition to me what it really means. One of them is willing, the other is effort, and the third and last one is choices. Mr. Blake, I, and I'm quite sure many others, have been willing to do things, ready or eager, or attempt to do something. For what is an effort? A vigorous and determined attempt. We all does. But for choices, an act of selection or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. I say this because I have heard something in particular being said, which of course I do believe everybody may have heard, and I do not understand if they really pay attention to it. But when people say things and make choices to say them, with that will and make an effort to do so, sometime when they're done, say those things, damage being done. How could some people be calling and speaking on the national radio and others hearing, not just here, in the diaspora and worldwide, and making statements about having money elsewhere and don't have to rely on no one to get to wherever they want to via a flight of an airplane, but have been financed by other means of the government? Could you imagine those things? Could you imagine those things, Mr. Rick? When there are other people here who really have a need and willing, want that sort of money and help financially, but there are other people who have money elsewhere and don't have to worry to get a flight to go anywhere else, but are being financed by such programs? Could you imagine those things when people say these things? How do you look at these things? How do you really analyze them? Mr. Blake, I thank you very much because something have been said yesterday that I really feel uncomfortable about. I hope a person retract what they said.
Yeah, now
take care and have.
We'll talk more about it later at the meeting. I hope to see you at the meeting later.
I am going to attend. I am making preparations.
Very well. We'll talk about it more then. Thanks a lot.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Let's take this other caller. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. I just need to say something here. I heard that statement made by, I'm not going to call his name because you know who he is. I think what he was trying to say, right, is that because he works in the United States, that's the impression I got from him, that he doesn't have to depend on anything he gets. He has worked in St. Thomas and he is working in the U.S. And he went as far to talk about lying down on the back, and I think that's when you shut him down.
Yeah, I don't want to rehearse that, you know, tell the truth.
Yes, so I just want to know that he did say, what he meant to me is that he had money in St. Thomas because he worked there, and he worked in the state. He doesn't have to depend on any money here in St. Kitts. That's
Okay.
what I think he said.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very well, because that certainly was not necessary. Yeah, I want to let that rest. In fact, not just rest. I wanted to remain buried. Yes. Hello, caller.
Mr. Blake.
Yes, sir.
This is Sonny Boy talking to you.
Okay, you have 60 seconds this time around. 60 seconds. Carry on.
Let me clarify what I said. I said history always repeats itself. And I feel sorry for my brothers and sisters in the Federation because I want them to surprise me and see the strides Shakers have made in the world stage that they can repeat that. That's all I had to say.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're free to express yourself. And we welcome that. Just do it decently. All right. Yeah, right. This is my view, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. If something untoward, something indecent, something unacceptable is said, unfortunately, you know, the individual is allowed, or the individuals are allowed to get through, so to speak, before we are able to shut him or her or them down. We want to let that rest and remain buried. And we don't even want that to rest in peace. We just want it to rest and stay dead. So we prefer if we don't rehash that and attempt to resuscitate and resurrect that. Let that pass. Okay? And I'm sure persons are capable of defending themselves if push comes to shove. So we won't want anyone attempting to justify something that was said which we all agree should not have been said. Right. So then we are expecting general elections in 5 years' time. In 5 years' time, in 2027. We hope, we pray, we would prefer that we do not have reason to call elections before that. In fact, I think most of us would have preferred that the elections run from 2020 to 2020, that the government term run from 2020 to 2025. But we know what happened, and so we've had to have it 2 years earlier, 3 years early. We are hoping that this time around, the new government, by that time it would not be so new, would have so adapted itself, would have so acclimatized itself to the realities, and they would have been able to depend on and capitalize on and exploit the expertise, the experience, the intellectual and other capital that many persons in St. Kitts bring to bear. And not only their supporters, by the way, and I hope that the new government learns this, that it does not have to depend only on persons whom it believes are its supporters to fulfill certain critical roles and to discharge certain important functions or to occupy certain special posts. I think that Dr. Joe and his cabinet are going to be more magnanimous than that and understand that for the good of the country, an individual who has a proven record, who has a track record like William Ferdinand Doe, for example, of success in many areas, that individual deserves the right to work and to perform and to assist in the fulfilling the program of the government. Of course, no government is going to allow sabotage. I mean, that goes without reason. That goes without saying. No government is going to tolerate people doing things to undermine and to disrupt and upset and so on. But if an individual is discharging his role, performing his duties and doing well, whether he supports openly or is suspected to support a particular party should be utterly irrelevant, should be immaterial. And the government, Dr. Joe and his cabinet, should respect that individual's skill, ability, his capacity to perform and achieve, and allow him that opportunity. So whether those persons are already there or apply to occupy certain positions, I believe that which party he or she represents should not be part of the criteria. But I must repeat again, if that individual is known to be is suspect in terms of not being committed, not being trustworthy, not being reliable, then we have to think twice. But provided there's no such problem, no such trash surrounding the individual, no such garbage surrounding the individual, I am recommending that he or she be given the opportunity to work in this land of his birth or adoption, as the case may be. And this is what we hope to see going forward, not just with this government, but with all governments hereafter. Okay, then there must not only be no victimization, there must be no semblance of it. Let's take this caller. Hello? Hello, caller? Good morning. Okay, we've missed him or her, and we don't have much more time. But yes. Okay, right. We would want persons to understand that anything that is new is going to be different in some ways, because newness denotes difference, doesn't it? All right? It can't be the same old with what is supposed to be new. Otherwise, we might as well not have changed. We don't want change for change's sake. We want change because change is supposed to denote newness and progress and innovation. Let's see what this caller thinks. Hello, caller.
Hey, good morning. I'm calling from Nevis.
Yes.
It's amazing that when you mentioned about the doctors as prime ministers, I was thinking about it about a day or so.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, and it's amazing that I'm now hearing the topic this morning.
Yes.
Okay. I think the prime minister is going to do well based on he took up this portfolio on the health. Remember, Dr. Joe didn't get popular from being a politician. I think he got popular from being a doctor. Mm-hmm. And in that, I believe he can handle that because that's what he loves, you know. Mm-hmm. And I define people in their categories. If you're a teacher, anybody can be a teacher, but then everybody can teach. Mm-hmm. You know, if you can't reach a child, you can't teach a child. You could be qualified. But I think Dr. Joe he's going to do well. If he turn things up and turn it around, but if he follow the trends and the patterns, I like to say that thing, you know, Bass, when I look at the whole thing, right, I don't know. If y'all the bun coal in Zinget, I know we do it over here.
I imagine it does happen, but not on a very large scale.
Okay then. I don't want to say the government is like this, but I could tell you, you need wood, and you need like green bush, some use grass or big bush, and dot. And of course, we have some water for emergencies in case the bus open.
Mm.
Man, listen to me. All you're going to see is smoke, you know, but the fire on it, that, you know. So, if we don't get the fire under control and get the moisture from the wood, we ain't going to get no coal. We ain't got a firework. But anyhow, I say that to say this. If he decide, okay, look at the trend, look at my profession. I've been a doctor for so many years. The people love him for his profession. And now he's the prime minister. I think if he keep his promise and do what he's supposed to do and, you know, change up the whole formula, I think he can be there for a long time.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have another, okay. It would be interesting if doctors were to learn to dispense medicine, not just for physical ailments and to help cure diseases and illnesses, but also to suggest, to be familiar with remedies on a national level, at the political and economic level. It would be interesting if that were to be part of their resume, part of their training. You know, how do you rescue? They already know how to save an individual from death, physical death, depending on the nature of his illness. Well, how do you rescue a country? And not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but throughout the world. Lots of politicians would do well with a dose or two of that. Let's take this caller. Hello?
Yeah. Mr. Babe, permit quickly to say, right, that I hope, right, this new government will allow the statement for corporation like Social Security and all of them to be tabled in the House, because for a number of years those wasn't tabled. And also before before 2015, right, we could have seen the statement from SID fund and so on, right, online, and then when the administration went in, those disappear. So I hope those will come back. Thanks, buddy.
Right, okay. The records of statutory organizations should become part of the public domain, as has been promised, and which actually is part of the whole concept of transparency and accountability in a good governance agenda. So certainly we will expect to see that happening in quick time. Remember, we can't expect it to happen as of tomorrow. The cabinet is to be sworn in on Saturday. We don't expect to see it happening as of Sunday or Monday. But certainly, within reasonable time, we expect these things to be to resume as they ought to be. We have another caller? Okay, then I think we're going to begin to wrap it up. I'm still not satisfied with the number of responses with respect to why independent candidates are not doing well in St. Kitts and Nevis. Because I do believe that there are good persons out there, good people out there, who could provide decent quality representation as individuals. And perhaps that is the next stage where we need to set our sights. Okay? At a different forum, we were discussing the question of political awareness and maturity. And I believe it would be a good step, a step in the correct direction, if we were to begin to see independent candidates really putting up a good show and being elected to Parliament. I would take that as a yardstick by which to measure success and growth in political maturity and awareness in St. Kitts and Nevis. The day an independent candidate with a serious, sober platform is elected to Parliament. We will end our session now and say thank you very much to those persons who called in. And don't forget, we welcome you to express your views, even if you think you're the only one who holds that view. Nothing is wrong with that. Just make sure that you do it in a respectful and respecting manner. Thank you very much. Until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, be good.